Welcome to Hope, the channel for everybody who dreams of a better world for themselves, their children, and all future generations, for the Earth itself, and for all life on Spaceship Earth. If you dream of a world of abundance, of prosperity, of peace, and of equality of opportunity, that is the basis of the American dream, which is universal, then this is the channel for you. Today we are talking about hope for education, and I want to share with you some truly inspiring, life-changing things, because of course the world is changing rapidly, accelerating, and there is a lot of people afraid for their jobs. There are reports such as from Bloomberg estimating 82 million global job losses from AI by 2030. Now the good news is 96 million jobs are expected to be created, 14 million net jobs. But of course, that means retraining, re-education. We've heard these buzzwords before, right? How steel workers would be retrained to be computer engineers, and that didn't work out. My own sister, a nurse, who decided to do a master's program, was so hesitant because after 16 years in school, she hates school. No more school. And so many Americans, so many people in general just, oh God, that's how they feel. It's a factory. You're stuck in a classroom with 29 other people, and then some person there just pushing information at you, slideshows, tests. I mean, the well-meaning reforms, no child left behind, just teaching to the test. Our kids hate this. Our teachers hate this. It doesn't work. We're number 8 in science, number 24 in math. And let's not forget that COVID left an entire lost generation. We have students that are on average 2 or 3 years behind their grade level and no chance to catch up. And that's just the average student. If you're a poor child, if you're a child with disabilities, if you're a disadvantaged child of color, you have no hope. But now there is hope. It's the hope for education, and it's how artificial intelligence can help solve this problem. This video from South by Southwest, an interview with Mackenzie Price, a pioneer in AI-based education. Now, what she's done, she hasn't invented her own software. I'll link to this in the comment section. It is life-changing. When I saw this, I realized this is how my children are going to learn. If I can afford it, I am going to make sure they're in this school. But if not, I'm going to dedicate my life, either way, to bringing this system of learning to every child in America and then the world. What is this system of learning? This is AI personalized education. She calls it 2-hour learnings. For those on the advanced placement AP track, the Tiger parents, kids who want their kids in Stanford, 3 hours of learning. You're focusing on science, on math, on language arts, and reading in that core curriculum in the first 2 hours. The way this works is basically the child, wherever the child is, the AI will determine that just by answering the questions. How often they get them right? How often they get them wrong? How frustrated do they become? And then you go backwards to get to that core foundation, and then you advance them as quickly as they are comfortable with, 2 to 3 hours a day. Absolutely incredible results. We'll be talking about those fact-based results in a moment, but this is the core curriculum: math, science, English, and social studies, right? The STEM. This is what you need to survive and thrive in the world of tomorrow. But here's the most exciting part. In the last 4 hours of the day, now you have life skills. This is where the humans, yes, humans are involved. They're called life coaches. 15 students per life coach, and their job is to help kids who hate learning, who have disabilities, who don't have any hope, to find hope, to find their passions, whether it's sports or business or science, technology, or even something like Star Trek, and integrate it into the child's education so they have a passion for learning. And then they teach them financial literacy, tech literacy, how to love to learn, critical thinking, problem solving, goal setting, emotional regulation, stress management, how to work in a team, empathy, compassion, civics, how to be a good, well-rounded American citizen. That is something absolutely that our schools are falling down on. This could save democracy itself, in addition to raising up our children. So, okay, let's get to the actual evidence. How good does this work? Well, let's take a look here at the basic summary of all their schools. This is absolutely incredible. On average, 2.6 times faster learning in 2 hours per day than in 6 hours of standard American curriculum. Top 20% of students are learning 6.5 times. And remember, 3 hours is the AP track, 99th percentile for pretty much all of their average students in their Austin school. But of course, they have several schools, and I'm sure you're thinking, right, and Harvard accepts the top 4% best and brightest, and that's why they have the best SAT scores, and they are the most successful. Well, guess what? They have a school in Brownsville, Texas, where the majority of students are from families living under the poverty line. They have majority of students, 2/3, with learning disabilities, ADHD, dyslexia, even autism. That's right, 4 students of color with autism who hate to learn, who have been told their whole life, you will never amount to anything, can be taken from the 30th percentile to the 70th or even the 84th percentile. Even refugee students in Ukraine are finding success with 2-hour learning. And remember, this isn't about just one woman saving us. No, this is Khan Academy. These are already off-the-shelf, AI-based, self-directed learning modules. This is simply all put up into one even package. So what about the Austin school? Top 2% in math, top 1% in reading, top 1% in language, and top 1% in science. This is how you bring equality of opportunity to every student. Now, the Austin school, the flagship $30,000 a year tuition. So obviously that's not something everyone can afford. And we can't all send our kids to Austin, but the idea is simple. At economies of scale, you ramp this up, you can bring these costs down to maybe $10,000, $15,000 per year. And guess what? That is what the average school, including the state and federal grants, spends, about 15 grand a year. For the same amount of money, we can achieve 3 to 7 times better results, not to mention the life skills learning. The life teachers, the life guides here, the teachers in these schools, they love their lives. The kids love their lives. The parents love that their kids are achieving success. The high school program has kids doing projects that are master's level, college level courses, starting businesses, doing documentaries about the links of lifestyle and breast cancer, for example. One student literally started a business with $300,000 in revenue by the time he graduated from high school. This is the level of success, the future citizens of America that can lead humanity into a brighter age. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, this is, in theory, so much better than No Child Left Behind. So much better than any education reform ever proposed. This truly is hope for education for our children. But how do we bring this to everybody? And this is where there is hope, even in cynicism. Because let me take you back to the 1950s. The Soviets put Sputnik into space, shot her around the world in terms of science, making headlines. Suddenly, the Soviets own space. Americans flip out. Advanced placement program created, billions of dollars thrown into higher education, R&D spending, science, STEM was essentially invented after Sputnik. When we are faced with existential threats from our rivals, we step up. As Churchill said, the Americans can always be counted to do the right thing after exhausting all possible alternatives. Today, America's rival is China. And let me tell you, when President Xi learns of this, that you can strap kids in for a few hours and turn them into academic supermen and women, oh, you know he's going to go for that. But he's not going to go for the life skills. He's not going to go for 2 or 3 hours learning. He's going to say, I want kids in school 12 hours a day, strapped in. I want them all PhDs in chemistry and physics and computer engineering. Well, guess what? Even if that happens, and I'm sure that China will embrace this in the future, since it is simply too good not to. they will still not take over the world. And you know why? Because as Warren Buffett said, there is only so much education, so much math that you need to be a good investor and to be a good business person, to be a good CEO, to be a good entrepreneur, to be a good citizen and a thriving citizen of the future. You need creativity and empathy and teamwork and overcoming challenges and emotional resilience. And that's not something that President Xi is likely to be stressing when the Chinese adopt this, but this is something the Americans can. And this is how I know that the future of American education and equality of opportunity, not just for American students, but all students around the world in democracies, is bright. This is how we can truly embrace the promise of equality of opportunity and the brighter future for everyone who values democracy and freedom and compassion and peace. This is how we create a world of abundance and hope for all humanity, the earth, all creatures, big and small, living on spaceship Earth. I can promise you this, as I'll be showing you in the coming weeks, I have already embraced this kind of learning. Not exactly this, but very, very similar. And it has absolutely transformed my life. Not just from losing weight and becoming healthy and breaking addictions, but it has already transformed the way I think, how creative I am, how compassionate and empathetic I am. It has turned me into the Captain America version of myself, and this is working. Thousands of students have already experienced this. This is the future of humanity, and it is bright. The Star Trek utopia is already here. It's just unevenly distributed, but with working together, people like you and I can bring it to everyone. And that is why I can guarantee you, personally, that Star Trek utopia is coming. And if I'm wrong, we'll be too dead to care. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you join us next week.